Kathy here from kathyskutekreations. Today I'm going to show you how to cut out and trace the children's Olson mask. I've got a few people out at work that have children, so I decided to go ahead and make this video so that they can see how to do it. This is what the patterns look like. I'll show you more of a close-up here in a minute. It's two different ones. It's children's 2 to 5, and then that's called the small size, and the large is called children's 6 to 8. So let's get started. Okay, this is just a little bit closer. There's the mouth and the cheek. I'll give you the link below so you can print it out. And this is the cloth that I'm using. Easy Pattern 830 tracing cloth. That's what I use. See, even this thing is machine washable. Alright, let me show you what I laid down here on the table here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it out. And the reason I'm going to cut out 2 of them is I'm going to give one to my sister. So all I do is lay it out. Okay, so I cut it in half. I laid my paper down. I put my paper on top of it. Now I'm not going to put any pins or anything in it, because I don't want to put any holes in it at this point. And then all I do is trace. So I'm going to cut out, separate them, and then I will hold on to it as I cut it out. I have the face cut out. So let me show you what you want to do. The first thing you want to do is put the nose piece up here, and the faces, they need to face each other, okay? And you're going to do this on the mouth and the cheek, and you can put them in a Ziploc bag. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to lay out the fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and cut one of these out in each side. The face part laid here and here, so I can get a puppy standing here and a puppy standing there, and then all I do is take my scissors and cut it out. Now what I'll do is I'll try to get as close as I can to it, because I can always use these scraps for something else. Now I won't put this fabric on the inside. I'll put something else. And I'll show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. I'm going to see the inside of the cheek or the mouth. So this is what I'm going to use, because these colors are in that other print. So all you do is lay it down here. And I'm using the little 2 to 5 years old. And we're doing 2, so I only have to have, since this is not fussy cut, I only need 1 piece now of the cheek and the mouth, because it's going to end up with 2 pieces here, and that's what you're going to need, is 2 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the mouth down like this, and the cheek like that, and I've avoided the selvage down here, and then I'm going to pin these on, and after I pin them, I'm going to set them aside and we'll cut them. Now this is the way I cut them out. All I do is take it, hopefully it's in the camera here, and go right around it. Just take your time, because you don't want to be cutting the pattern. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take the cheek, you're going to flip it upside down, and you're going to iron it 1/4 inch. We're going to sew a seam on that, because when it goes inside the mask, it will look like this. I'm going to do the same thing to the cheek pieces. Getting ready to stitch right now. Here's a curved side, here's a curved side, and here's a curved side. This is the only straight you have. So that's the side that you're folding it under 1/4 inch and hemming it. Okay? On this, you have a curve and a curve, but you have a straight here and a straight here. But this one is longer, so you're going to do it on the longer side. Okay, now we're going to take our curve on the mouthpiece, which is this right here, and we're going to sew it. Now this is where I take my stitch length and I lower it, because I want this to be a little bit tighter. So match up your sides and I went down just 1 notch, so I put it down to 1.8. You can pin this if you want, but I don't pin it. I've made enough of them now that they don't need to be pinned. And just slowly go around the corner, do your 1/4 inch. If you find that you made one of these masks, this is the 2 to 5-year-old. Let's say that your child is just a little bit smaller in the face, okay, and you made yourself one and you realize it's just a little bit too big, then instead of sewing a 1/4 inch, come over to a 1/2 inch. It'll make it all smaller, okay? Just everything that you do the whole thing that small. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the face. If you want, you can iron this. Normally I open it up, take my hands and fold it. I am trying to put a crease in here, and I want the crease to go to the right, which is away from me. And go all the way down the whole entire thing. And I do a finger press with it, but you can do it on the iron if you want. And it ends up like this, just like that. Okay, so it has a curvature to it. You're going to do the same thing with this. You're going to put the top up. This is the top part. This is the bottom. Okay, this has a little bit more of a curve on the top. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to push it away from you to the right, because we want these to line up. So go all the way down. I finger press it. Now we're going to put the right sides together, just like this, and we're going to put it together just like it was being nestled up at the top. And then I'm going to put a pin in it. And I actually put 2 in it. And then I'll come down, and then on this, because this is so little, I'm just going to put 1 in it here. You can put a clip if you'd like. It's on both sides, right and left. Go to the other side and do the exact same thing and repeat the process. It's your preference whether you want to wash this fabric or not. You can always wash it when you're done, or wash it beforehand. Here's the next step. I fold it. This is inside out. I put the top part, which is the nose, up here at the right hand side. The top up here. I'm looking at it this direction. And if you notice, on here, one of these is going to the right and one of them is going to the left. Let me get better in the camera here for you. Okay, one's going to the right and one's going to the left. You can see it up here. It's going that direction. This one's going this direction. So this part is going to go to the top of the mouth. So if you put this one on this side, it's not going to match up correctly. It'll be off. See, it's off right here. So it has to be the right one. Okay, this was the importance of making sure that you marked your little pattern correctly. And then what I'll do, because now that I've done so many of them, I've changed a little bit of the sequence here. I don't pin it as much. I line it up. I'll put my pin at the bottom, down here. And then what I'll do is I'll pin it up here. And actually what I'm going to do before I pin it, which is going to make it a lot easier on a lot of people, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim this little piece off right here that's sticking off the edge. Right here. Nip that off and nip this off. And then when you lay it down, it will fit on there like that. That'll be a lot easier for people. Then I put a pin at the bottom. And if when you get done, you've made a lot of these and all of a sudden your bottom let's say that this fabric, you want to come down some on it. Let's say you don't want it as high up here on the mouth, okay? So what you do, so let's say you want to come down and you want to go right here on the edge, which you can do that if you want to, okay? So you come down on the edge, you line it up because you want to make sure it's covering it. You're covering the cheek. Okay, let me pin it so you can see the back side of it so I can show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to pin it here. And I want to go ahead and pin it here. And then what's going to happen is this is going to be longer. So what you do is you flip it over and notice how it's longer right here. If that's the case, this is the correct side. The correct side. You'll trim it down here and take off this excess. That's only if you want to make it smaller in here so that the mouthpiece is bigger. It's going to be your preference to what you want to do. I try to match them up so that when I come down to the bottom, I'll match up the bottom piece the best that I can, and then I'll put one pin in there. Then if I need to trim it, I'll trim it after I get done sewing it. And then I'll end up putting a pin up here, and I'm going to pay attention because when I come up to this point and this point, which I can actually see with this fabric, I'm going to want to backstitch to reinforce it. So let's go ahead and pin both sides. The whole thing pinned. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start about right here to sew it. And then let me show you where I'm going to put it on my machine here. So instead of coming up here where all this bulk is at, I'm going to start down here. And my 1/4 inch, my foot comes right along this edge here. But like I said, if for some reason you need to make your mask smaller, then come over further with your foot. You can make it so that your foot goes right here on the fabric. It's right on the edge. That's not a 1/4 inch. You've come in some, but that's fine if that's the size you need for your child, because you can always trim it once you've got it sewn. Don't forget you're going to move your stitch back up to 2 if you've got it down to 1.8 when you did your curves. I'll go all the way to the edge, take my pin out, and come along the end of it. Just like that. And now I can see where I'm coming up, where I have to reinforce it. So I'll go forwards, backwards, take my pin out, and come up to this part right here, and then reinforce it again. And then we're going to go really slow and easy around this curve here, because this is the nose piece. Try not to go over your pins, if you can help it. Getting ready to reinforce my first time here. Down at the end. Whoops, I went too far. Back it up. Okay. Reinforce it. This may take you a little bit more time because it's a small child's mask. We're coming up to the end. And then you don't want to forget that this side also has to be reinforced. Take it out. Now you want to clip off any of these little stitches here to clean it up some. And then when you get to the tip top up here, if it's hanging over, then you're going to want to clip it. For example, this one here has got a little bit hanging over. Just go around it, clip it. Okay. And then we're going to cut the corners. For easier turning. You're going to be careful, put your hands in. You're going to turn it just like this. Let me get my tool. I put it in. I wiggle this out to the edge. I'm just trying to get the bulk out. There we go. Like that. I'm going to do the other side. Try not to poke so that you don't put a hole in the mask. You're just slowly pushing it. You can use a chopstick. I wouldn't recommend scissors. Alright. And then I take the top part up here and I pull on it a little bit before I iron it, because I'll press it with my fingers first. Get it lined up before we put our wire in. Take a look at our puppies. There's both our little puppies on there. Now I'm going to take it over and I'm going to iron these ends first, both the cheeks, and then I'll iron the bottom here, and then I'll iron the top, and then we're going to pin it next. This is what it looks like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put our wire in it. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out the length of wire that you want to use, because here's the little nose, and you don't normally want to come more than this right here. So you take your ruler and you figure out it's about an inch. So you come down an inch and you mark it with your pen. And you go the other side and you do the same thing. You go an inch and you mark it. Okay, so they're marked like that. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our wire in here, but we're going to go ahead and stitch it first, and I'm going to show you how. I found it the easiest way to do it is I'll take my foot and put it on the edge. I come down to the pin, so we can test it here. And then I'm going to put my foot down. It's not going to be touching that pin. It's going to be on this side of the pin. I pick it up, take out the pin. Now, I'm going at an angle and I'm going to lock it into place here. And you can do it on either side. It doesn't make any difference, but I found this to be more comfortable for me, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And then I turn it, and then I slowly straighten out this fabric right here, and you can do that. You just push it a little bit. And I'm trying to keep my foot, let's go back one more spot, hold on. And I'm trying to keep my foot coming along the edge of this fabric here. And you don't have to go fast, just go slow. Go at your own pace. By the time you get to the middle, you want to shift it a little bit and turn it. I'm coming right down to this other needle. I'm going to come right before it. One more time. Now, since my foot's lift, if yours doesn't lift, lift yours up. Okay, so I cut my wire 2 inches. See that? 2 inches. And then I take the wire and I take my pliers, and all I do is grab the end of it, pinch it downward, and roll it. And then I smash it. Okay? Then I go to the other end and do the same thing. Grab it, pinch it, and bend it. And then I didn't bend enough. Here we go. Bend it like that. And then I kind of smash it down, and then I make it flat, so it ends up looking like this. See if I can show you here. It looks like that. And now with the piece that I just did, let me show you how I insert it. Now I haven't, if you noticed, I haven't removed it off of the sewing machine. Over here, and I'm going to show you. Here's my pin right here. So I'm taking my pin out now because I reached it. So I'm going to take this little piece here. I'm going to lift this up, and right here is the opening to the mouth. I'm going to put my little piece in there and slowly feed it, and then pull it, because I went through here. I grab it and I pull it over so that it meets over here on the left hand side, so the wire's up against this here, and it's cleared my needle right there. And then I go at an angle, put my foot down, and slowly come forward, and I'm locking it into place. So it only takes a few stitches because it's not going anywhere. Cut it, take it out, snip off the ends here. Here's the inside. Let me flip it over here. Turn it upside down so you can see it. And there's the outside stitched on there. So it's got a little nose piece in it, just like that. Okay. Just like that right there. And now the next step is to do the little sides here. And then I'm going to show you what I have purchased recently that I really like to use on the earpieces from here on out. Okay, so I have folded over the edge here, and I ironed it down, and I pinned it. And I've done it on both ends. That is a 1/2 inch from the edge to that. So I'm going to take it over here to the sewing machine. I am going to stitch it. And this is where you would lock in your stitches, because you want to make sure it doesn't come undone from the pressure on the ears being pulled on. Let me see if I can get it to move here for me. There we go. I need to put that foot down. There we go. Now, I do not use your regular 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch elastic. I found something else that I like a little bit better. It is an elastic. It's just not the 1/4 inch that you're used to when you make clothing. This material I have is actually made for masks. Let me get it started here. Now we'll clip off all the little pieces I'm using. And yes, it is fuzzy just like that. That is very soft, and it has a lot of give, so it won't pinch your ears. It's not rough. See? So that's what I'm using now. So it's real soft. And these are made for masks. And that's what I'll put on here. Now, this little thing here is called a bodkin. You grab the piece at the bottom. You take this piece here and you slide it up, and it grabs it and holds on to it. And then you put it through there, just like this. I twirl it to start it out with. Put it through here. Whoops. And then there it is right there. Like before you tie it off, there it is, all completed for a 2 to 5 year old. That's the size. Alright. And I'll put it next to a full-size mask so you have an idea of what it looks like. So there's your regular size. And then there's the little one we made. And this one here is the bigger child. So if you put the two on top of each other and you line them up, you can tell that's a little bit bigger all the way around. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And keep in mind that when your children wear these masks, you want to be really careful. If you do not want that wire up there, then just take a couple stitches out of here and take it out. Okay? Just for their safety, if you think they're going to be picking at it or something. Because you don't have to have it, it just won't be close up against their face. That's all. And you can always change these out. You can put shoestrings in here. You can put all kinds of things. You don't need to use that either. It's up to you. All right? Take care, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.